Welcome to the Dynasty Deep Dive live. I think this is my first one live, doing it with my boy John. John, you're smacking me in an aura contest right now. I just got off work. I'm in my polo. And who's on that Rams jersey, brother?
That is a Todd Gurley jersey. So
Much
remember the year
aura.
he went off? It must have been 2016, like 24 touchdowns. And I remember I drafted him in round 2. And that was like, oh, you're taking Todd Gurley. I'm like, I think this is going to be a good year. I liked him, obviously. And I won a couple leagues with them. So I bought the jersey. And I do like the blue and the gold. I've always liked this generation, this bright blue and gold. So I just went to my drawer today. I need a jersey for the show. So I go, I'll wear my Todd Gurley.
I love it, man. And you're a Broncos fan, isn't that right? That's still like your team at the end of the day, just like me.
Oh, yeah, definitely a Broncos fan. Love this season. Got no complaints. We fell a little bit short. But unfortunately, I do collect jerseys. Not as much anymore. Kids are older. But like when I was in a certain age, I was like, let me have my fantasy stars.
That's
but I
awesome.
still got some of those hanging around.
I think that's so cool, man, because to your point, like these are the guys that are putting the money in your pocket from joining those leagues. And so what better way to show, it's a good conversation starter. Are you a Rams fan? No, I'm a Broncos fan, but I also love fantasy football, right?
I love fantasy football. So I do it was funny because I do like Bo Nix, obviously. I like them coming out. I like him. He's a Bronco. So my son bought me a Bo Nix jersey and my mom 2 years ago. So I have 2 different Bo Nix jerseys. Nice. So it's just how it rolls.
Nice. Well, good to have you on the show again, man. For those who don't know, we are doing a 3-round rookie mock draft, super flex. We have a full draft room. We've got people in the chat pounding the table to start the draft. So we are going to start the draft here in just a minute. John, talk to me about this class a little bit, because you've done a lot of really deep and great research. You've scouted over 50 prospects easily at this point, I believe.
I think I'm up to 74 now, my good friend.
Wow. And so no better guy to do this exercise with than you, and love your content. You can find John's articles on playerprofiler.com. Follow him on X as well. Gridiron Skull 91, I believe.
That is correct. I could not afford the A and the R when I signed up. So Gridiron Skull 91.
Yeah. And talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing, because we were talking before the show about what you think of this class, and I'm kind of with you.
So this is my 13th year officially grading. I've been a Draftnikin fan for over 35 years, but I only go back 13 because I have records, right? I published it on Football Diehards, and now for the last 3 years, I've been on Player Profiler. And actually, my top 6 running backs are actually being published sometime today. You can see my top 6 wide receivers for January 29th, top 6 running backs, and there's a ton more coming out. I'm a full-time teacher, so it takes me a while to do the write-up and the analysis. I'll say this. In my 13 years doing it, this is the second worst class that I have seen. It is not very pretty. I was on a Player Profiler. We're coming out with our rookie guide, and we're doing our top 60 rookies in like super flex, 1 quarterback, tight end premium. I'll just say this, my friend. Once you get past like number 30, it gets really sticky and hard. And I think you're going to have, if you look at people's rankings from 30 to 60, there's not going to be a lot of consistency. I mean, there's just so many players that the difference is so thin. Now, do I believe in the long run 2 or 3 of those players will turn out to be good fantasy producers? Sure. There usually happens somewhere. Our job is to try to find them over the next 6 months, right? That's the challenge ahead of us. I think there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, mediocrity with some upside. And one thing I've noticed, a lot of the players have a skill set that they can be very successful at. As an example, at running back, Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. I think he's going to have a role as a 3rd down back and a committee back. But he's not a full-time running back who can do 20 touches, 22 touches a game. There's a lot of wide receivers who are really good X receivers, but I don't think they can be peppered with 120 targets. I think they're kind of deep shot artists. Maybe they'll get some crossers, you know what I mean? Like maybe 90 receptions, and they're going to serve a role on the boundary, right? You can put them out there on the boundary. They can scare safeties with their speed, but you're not going to pepper them with targets. There's a lot of those guys. And at the quarterback position, we have been spoiled. COVID allowed a lot of young men tremendous amount of experience at the quarterback position. What that did is it brought a lot of quarterbacks, like in that 2023 class, 5 quarterbacks drafted in round 1. We've had a lot of quarterbacks with tremendous amount of experience who could step onto the field right away. You look at this year's class, 2 things. You either have a lot of experience like Carson Beck, and he's just not very good, or you have, Trinidad Chambliss, who I like a real lot, but he's only got 1 year of SEC.
Not enough games, not enough reps. Yeah.
Am I impressed with his traits? Absolutely. But he still only played 1 year at the highest level. So I can find as many holes in every prospect as I can see strengths. Now, there are exceptions. We'll talk about Jeremiah Love. He's a great prospect. But that's what I see. So what team are they landing with? And what role will the young man have? It's going to be very important.
Yeah, I think for right now, you're going to see so much discrepancy in those 30 through 60 rankings. And then after the draft, I think you'll see a lot more consensus, because we'll just start to get in line with who actually gets the draft capital, because we'll all kind of be like, yeah, they're all somewhat mediocre, but this guy's a 4th rounder, and I thought either of these guys could be a 4th or a 6th. Yeah, fall in those rounds. So that's one of the symptoms of this draft. Guys, bring your questions to the show today in the live chat. We've got one from one of the draftees in the draft room. Before we get started here, he asked, he's got the 102, 103, and like 108. What should he do? I don't think you're fine to stick there, but one of the answers was trade up for the 101 and go get Jeremiah Love. And I don't think you'd have to give all that up to get him. Maybe you do the 103 and the 107. I don't hate it at all. Jeremiah Love is closer to Bijan Robinson than any prospect we've seen since Bijan coming out. That's one of the big things. That's why I took the 101 spot, because I wanted to just tell everybody that this guy is underhyped as of now, but when he gets that top 10 draft capital, he's going to be, untouchable in dynasty rankings. You're not going to be able to get that 101. So would be proactive. If you want to take a shot at home run with running back, go get Jeremiah Love. Guys, we're going to get straight into this draft. We're going to roll a quick promo. Don't go anywhere, because we're starting right after this.
Rookie draft season is now, and you know that because on Fast Draft, we have the Origins Tournament. That's right, the first, way too early, all-rookie tournament is live. There's a $10,000 prize pool. Start practicing for your rookie drafts and leverage your knowledge of rookies by winning cash. And given that it's close to 50% full, if not already well beyond 50% full, a lot of those drafts included players that actually did not come out. So every draft that happens from here until this thing fills, you're getting positive EV. So go to fastdraft.app, get the app, and sign up with your host promo code for a $50 deposit match, or use code FAST. Fast Draft is the next hot fantasy game, so get out there and start drafting faster.
Yeah, for you sickos who think your rookies and want to put money on the line and win real money, go draft the Rookie Origins draft on Fast Draft. Super cool. The only thing like it of its kind. But if you're too scared, we're going to do this mock, because that's how everyone else likes to do it right now. So we're getting started. I am on the board. Like I said, I'm going to make this for everybody. I'm going to take Jeremiah Love right away. I think he's an absolute. And we're getting off and running. We already got Mendoza off the board, Lemon off the board. Do you agree with that early on, or what are you thinking so far?
So I'm a Makai Lemon guy. I announced it this week on the Rookie Big Board, our video breakdown. And it's been up there since January 29th. Makai Lemon is my number 1 wide receiver in the draft. I absolutely love him. And I said on my video, this is not a stylistic comp, what I'm saying. It's a vibe comp. When you've been watching film of players for 13 years, and I've been watching college football for over 45 years, I got the same vibe with Makai Lemon that I did with Malik Neighbors. Absolutely in love with him. He's not as good of a prospect as Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors hit a home run in my model. He was off the charts as a prospect. However, Makai Lemon is so good on tape. So I'm up now. So we got the big three. I think you're going to see the top five are pretty much cemented. Johnny,
Yep.
why don't you review those while I take a look to see what I want now?
Well, I want to touch on what you said. I think that's the only difference that I would have made so far. I think Jadarian Price at 106 is interesting. I don't want to call it rich per se, but I may be looking at someone else at that pick so far. But I agree with you. I'm taking Lemon over Mendoza. I'm that convinced. You see a lot of the Amon-Ra St. Brown comps. You see a lot of the Steve Smith comps. I like that one. I love that you said Malik Neighbors vibe. Like, these are guys if he lands somewhere between any of those three guys, the 102 is too cheap, right? So I really like Makai Lemon. He's my wide receiver one in this class. I think Tate and Tyson are right behind him. It's just Tyson, I do get a little concerned with the injuries. Like, the on-field production's insane. But let's talk about your pick. KC Concepcion at 107 before Denzel Boston. Pretty interesting.
I'm all in. He's my number 4 wide receiver. We're breaking down his tape 2 weeks from now on the rookie big board. His home run speed. I love his special teams. Oh my God. Watch him on special teams, people. He hits the turbo button when he's in the open field. He has what I call Spidey sense. When he's kick returning, punt returning, he just understands all the players coming at him from all different angles, obliterates angles, and finds the open field. He is great on short routes. He can attack the defense any way you want. Intermediate, long, short. I love his hands. Now, there are some drops on film. I get it. But paradoxically, he makes some catches on film. You're like, holy crap, how did he do it? Now, is that a concentration thing? Is that the football spinning out of his quarterback's hand? I don't have an answer for that. Hopefully, coaches can fix that a little bit. I'm all in on Concepcion.
Yeah. Those drops every once in a while, to your point, that's not a sticky trait. It happens. It can be coached out, but there's so much home run speed there. I got a lot of analytics friends and stuff like that. And there's a few kind of yellow flags with him.
Yes,
right?
there is.
But in general, I think it's one of those things where when you watch the film, you're like, which guy moves faster than everyone else on the field and is going to go and, fit in at the next level. And I think he kind of jumps off the screen to me. It still is a bit of a toss up to me because I see someone falling in love with Denzel Boston's size.
I agree with that.
That's where it's like, if Concepcion falls into the second round and Boston's a top 20 pick, then maybe you start having to just look at like, okay, these guys made more of an investment in this player, right? Draft capital matters. This is still such a fun exercise to do because I think of like guys like the Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire dilemma of several years ago, where because Edwards-Helaire got the draft capital, everybody switched on their film and decided to go against Jonathan Taylor. That's why it's so important to do these drafts early, to get into the rookie class early, to get a feeling for the film before the draft capital sinks in, because after that, it's hard to look at it the same. And so,
can I say one thing, Johnny, that how I look at Denzel Boston Concepcion. I'm looking at him right now just from an analytical and a model perspective. Landing spot's going to matter. Let's just pretend. I think the New England Patriots need an X receiver desperately. They have a lot of really nice intermediate on the small side, right? You have Kyle Williams. You have Stephon Diggs, who's getting too old now. And you have Booty, right? So you need a big X receiver. Now, would the Patriots look and identify a Denzel Boston as that X boundary big receiver? I think Boston would be better in New England than KC Concepcion. So landing spot is going to matter. Maybe Kansas City likes Denzel Boston. They could use a classic X receiver. So landing spot's going to matter. But from a film perspective and a model perspective, Denzel has more red flags than KC Concepcion.
Yep. Yes. again, I think it's just one of those things. I'm not sure he makes it out of the top 25 picks, right? Because
Yeah,
it's just,
that's going to be interesting.
falling in love with the physicals and the measurables. I'm going to make my pick here, and then well, I'm going to go Sadiq, right? I think he's easily going to be a top 20 pick probably. And I think, and in this format, I didn't say it was tight end premium. I may lean Chambliss because I really like him as well. But as it stands now, I have Sadiq higher on my board. I love Omar Cooper.
Elijah Sarratt.
Yeah, I know you like Sarratt. Personally, I have Cooper slightly ahead of Sarratt, and so it's interesting because the consensus seems to have Sarratt ahead of Cooper. But my guy Buck Dancer, that's my buddy Blake. Actually, Blake, shout out. I love that pick. It's a bit of a reach on Omar Cooper right now, but I think he's going to be a guy who gets a lot of love throughout the pre-draft process and could creep up draft boards and live in this kind of 1-2 turn range come draft time. So Chev getting his two guys. I love that he did the 104 because Chev loves Carnell Tate and loves Emmett Johnson. So shout out you, Chev. You picked that spot where you knew you were going to get your guys. Very, very calculated approach there. What else are you seeing on here that you like or don't like?
Well, so I'll say I have Sarratt at number 5. And analytically, Sarratt is better than people give him credit for. When you start looking at his analytics, it's actually pretty good. I think people don't understand how good he is. And I'm looking for how Sarratt wins, not where his weaknesses are. If he's with the right team, as an example, if Sarratt was with Aaron Rodgers in his prime, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers would pepper him with those back shoulders and will put it in a spot where Sarratt would be unbelievable.
Stafford right now, right? With Adams.
Yeah.
Those kind of precision quarterbacks who don't care if you can't get a lot of separations. You're able to make those contested catches. Yeah. His contested catches are insane. When you look at the amount he's had, that's a bit of a red flag. But then when you look at the success rate, you're like, hey, guy's winning, you know?
Yes. Now I have Omar Cooper at 7.
Yep.
So that's how much I like them. Now, when I did the analyzing of the two, I have to consider Sarratt has done it over a longer period of time and more success. Cooper is really just the first year he broke out. And I love the tape of Omar Cooper, but we've never seen him be that guy. I need 2 years in my book to make him that guy. I really like Omar Cooper, but hey, if he's your guy, I say go and get him. So I'm on the clock. Why don't
you're on the clock, brother? That's right. But yeah, I agree with what you said. I think it's one of those things where I also like the style. It's just a stylistic thing, right? You get sniped again.
Skylar Bell, how dare you?
I mean, that's kind of early for him, huh?
Oh my God, I was hoping to get him into like a round 3. I might just take him because I love him.
Yeah.
Oh, that is hey man, I have Skylar Bell. Let me double check. I don't want to mislead anyone. Right now, I have Skylar Bell at number 10. So we'll talk about him later at the end, maybe. But I have Skylar Bell as my number 10 wide receiver. So I love that pick right there.
Yeah. Okay, though. Let's be honest, though. Katron Allen's still on the board, right? Like there's some oversight here, which is what happens when these ADPs are all jacked up like they are this early, right? A guy that I want to make sure doesn't slip through the cracks is Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's going to be, you've seen 3 quarterbacks go off the board already. I have him well ahead of Ty Simpson personally. I think my boy Pete's on auto draft, or he might not have taken him that high. But Nussmeier, again, played well at the Senior Bowl, was dealing with an injury all year. I'm sure you know something about that as well, John. I think he's going to be a guy who teams like, probably get 2nd round draft capital, and you start looking at more like a Tyler Shook type of thing where people were taking him in at the 1-2 turn, and that actually ended up paying off for them, right? So could see a team that's QB needy taking a shot at Nussmeier in the late 1st, mid 2nd, and him having a shot to start and being a valuable asset in Superflex leagues. I have him just ahead of Katron Allen, who I had right after him, and I see them both as like 1-2 turn picks. So good value there for Brittany at the 303 getting Katron Allen.
Johnny, I have Katron Allen number 2 in my running back rankings.
Yeah,
I think. And here's why. And I know I'm more bullish. The
3.
NFL is going to love his size.
Yeah, he's a no-nonsense guy,
No nonsense guy. They love between the tackle grinders. And there is a specific role for Katron Allen in the NFL. He's going to be a rotational back, and his job is going to be goal line and short yardage.
Which has value, right?
Yes,
in fantasy.
if he gets the 10 touchdown role, right, and maybe 700 yards receiving, that's what you want. And I'll say he's not a great receiver, but he's at least functional as a wide receiver. I like Katron Allen more than Nate Singleton, and I can't believe I said that, but I have to go back to my analysis because I had Nate Singleton for 3 years, or Nicholas Singleton for 3 years over Katron Allen. But my eyes and my research and my film analysis said, you know what? Katron Allen is better. They're going to like him. I like Katron Allen because he has a role. He is going to be that touchdown grinder guy.
Yeah, I see him and Jadarian Price somewhat similarly. Like Jadarian Price is a north-south, no-nonsense guy that I think teams are going to like, and they both have more value. Every year there's fantasy managers who, they're not sexy. They might not have the highest look, they don't look like the fastest guys, so you pass on them. But then they end up being solid NFL players because teams like what they bring to the table. So I think Jadarian Price and Katron are good examples of that.
Can you pause for me?
I was going to say, yes, I can.
Darn it. Now I like the fact we're doing a mock draft. This is where it gets thorny. I really thought Skylar Bell or maybe a Ted Hurst would have fallen to me in the 3rd round. So I got neither of my 2 deep sleepers. I don't love a quarterback here. I don't think there's another I think the 5 that we've taken are the 5 you want. So then I go to the running back, and I'm trying to think if my highest graded running back, do I want him here?
I'm going to throw a name out there.
Sure, go ahead.
Drew Aller into the mix as another guy. I think I don't like him. It's gross.
Yeah, I don't
think teams are going to fall in love with him. I think if he was my last pick at the 310 and he's still on the board in a super flex league, I might take a dart now before the draft because I think this guy's going to get 2nd, 3rd round draft capital, and then it changes the discussion around, again, that's kind of part of this exercise to me now is trying to be realistic with how this board could look after the draft and once the capital sets in.
Yeah.
I don't see him going after Carson Beck.
So I'm not a Drew Aller guy.
I know. I bet a lot of, like I said, it's gross.
It's gross, man. So the quarterback who I would want, but I think this is too early, but I think he's worth mentioning. It's definitely Ponder. It's Ponder of North Carolina State.
Oh, interesting.
North Dakota State. I'm sorry. Let me get that right. Why am I'm going blank?
I know which
1 week of teaching. Oh, Cole Payton.
Cole Payton, yeah.
If I had to
isn't he a lefty?
Back, it'd be Cole Payton because of his dual threat ability. And I think he's going to sit for 2 years. But I'm looking here, and I think I have to go wide receiver. I got my guy if you start the clock.
Okay, let's do it. Malachi Fields.
Yeah.
That X archetype that you mentioned.
That he had such a good Senior Bowl week. The buzz is going to build on him. He's 6'4", over 200. Let me get what I have his measurements at. 6'4", 218. Classic X receiver. I was actually surprised that my model says he's not as bad as I thought. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't love him on the film study, and I looked at him, and there are some flags that are interesting. PFF ADOT 16.4. I mean, he got some deep throws, and the NFL likes those guys, right? Yeah. So I like that. His catch percentage isn't good, but when you factor in the ADOT, I'm like, okay,
makes sense.
Getting difficult catches deep down the field, so I understand why the catch percentage is low. But his yards per reception, dude, at 15, I mean, you're talking about a big boy. You throw him out on the X, and you teach him 2 routes rookie year. You're going to run the deep post, and you're going to run the deep outside the X. right?
So
I
close.
mean, right? He can do those jobs. And teams need that type of player. Is he a little bit Keon Coleman-ish? Possibly. But I think the NFL is going to really like Malachi, so I'll take him here.
Yeah, and he had a hell of a Senior Bowl.
Yes.
Some separation concerns there, right? Some route running nuance that he needs to pick up, but he's got the measurables like we just talked.
Yes.
It wouldn't surprise me either if this guy's a top 50 pick. Daniel Jeremiah has him in his top 50 prospects, not just
I mean, you know what?
fantasy.
When you do this long enough, 13 years, and then I've been watching football set it for 48, you learn how the NFL thinks, right?
Right.
You get into the scouts and the court and the mind of the GMs and all those, and you begin to say, you know what? They're going to drool over Malachi Fields. That's why he's a top 50 pick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to happen because they're going to say he has a specific role for us. We're going to put him on the boundary, and he's going to go deep a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're through our 3 rounds. I love this board.
You want to do one more, brother?
I'm down, honestly.
Let's go.
I got a few more
round,
names
baby.
in my tank. Let's see who I got next. I'm gonna go with Claiborne because when I'm going through this class, I see like 10 running backs that I can actually get excited about at the most.
Yes.
Where like then you've got those kind of that first tier of wide receivers that we talked about, and then it's kind of like a bucket of like after Boston and Concepcion, like dealer's choice almost for the next couple of rounds. And I think the NFL is going to have to bake that all out. Yeah. But long story short, I see value in attacking running back in this draft class because there's a more finite amount of those that are quality prospects in terms of, I don't want to call the late round receiving prospects high quality, but there's more of a chance to hit on one of those late guys, in my opinion, pick them up after the 4th round as on waivers even. Yeah. And so if they're getting NFL draft capital as running backs in this draft class, like that automatically excites me because of what you talked about at the top of the show, that this isn't the best draft class we've seen. Right. So yeah, Damon Claiborne, I got to bone up on him. I got to watch more of his film, but I have him again as a mid 3rd round pick. So I'm happy to get him in the early 4th.
So it's funny because I really like Damon Claiborne's tape. The thing I'm a little worried about, he's 5'9", but 195. So
which is an outlier if he was going to do anything, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I do like the tape, especially if you go back to 2024. Yeah. I thought his tape in 2024, Wake Forest, I thought was better on offense 2 years ago than they were last year. But he does have some interesting fact. Hey, his scrimmage yards total exceeds my benchmark in 2024. He was 29% of the Demon Deacons Forest. Yeah. Also, his yards after contact isn't that bad at 3 for a smaller back. So there are some things that I like here with him. I wish he had a little bit more explosion. He only had 23 runs over 10 yards, but part of it last year was the Wake Forest offensive line. I think he's a guy we're going to have to see if there's any buzz on him. And I would say this, is he going to be a 4th round pick or a 6th round pick?
Right. And I probably would guess closer to 6 because of the size, to your point. And
that would be the factor that could hurt him.
Yeah. But, and I start looking at it where I'm like, do I want a guy who's a 6th round running back or a slew of these 4th round receivers? Right. So I know it's a weird thing to think about, but I think you have to think about draft capital on a bit of a sliding scale by position with this draft a little more. But yeah, he's, and just for context for everybody, 3 yards after contact is good. We're looking for about 3.5. It's kind of,
that's what I hope.
The
3.5 is what I
number, right? If you're getting that kind of, I think he had that in his career at Georgia. And if you're getting 3.5 yards after contact per carry per attempt, then that usually you start to fit in a much better bucket. His BMI is going to fit in a pretty bad bucket, to your point, in terms of, his size and what it means for his likelihood to be successful. But we all know that game is changing, and looking at the BMI is meaning less and less every year, right? You have guys like Jahmyr Gibbs who are outliers, Bucky Irving. These guys would have been considered long shots to make it in the NFL 10 years ago. And now that's just the way the game's moving. So I like some of these guys. I don't think we're going to see him pick, but another real small guy who's got a lot of juice, Desmond Reed. I think he's only like 5'9", 180 for Pittsburgh. but he
Oh,
can
Johnny,
home run speed.
I love Desmond Reed in 2024.
Yeah, a
But
year
man,
ago.
I'm sorry, it's very hard to be successful at the NFL level at 175 pounds.
Yeah.
I think he's a special teams contributor because he could be very good on punt returns and kick returns. And I think he may have, third down pass catching chops in a 2-minute drill. Because if you could get him isolated on a linebacker one-on-one, he could be a very big problem at that level. But he's just not going to be the type of guy who can take 20 touches. His body just won't hold up. And I loved him at Pitt in 2024. I mean, he was so good. But I see the 175. You know what his BMI is? I know you're right. I agree with you. It's not as important.
27.
24.4.
Ooh.
I mean,
I probably have a higher BMI than that, man.
I mean, I know I do, so that's a different story. But I'm on the wrong side of the BMI. But he's 5'11", 175, my friend, at a BMI of 24.4. I wanted to grade him higher because I see his explosiveness, I see his pass catching ability. But when you just look at the size, I just can't do it any higher than I got him. But this round, I didn't get to talk about. Give me half a second here. I never talked about how much I love Mike Washington, the Arkansas running back. I took him in the second round. I'm all in.
You took him. Oh,
yes.
Hell yeah.
And somehow we were talking about someone else. So I took Concepcion and Mike Washington. Landing spot is going to matter. Draft cap, I'm hoping he gets day 2 draft capital. Anywhere's in day 2, I'm all in on Mike Washington. I think his tape looks sensational. I loved what he did this year in the SEC. He's 228 pounds, 6'1". I mean, the NFL is just going to like him. He's an underrated receiver. Then I took my athletic freak at tight. I think he's going to come out athletic. Justin Jolly. He reminds me of Isaiah Likely coming out of that Eastern Carolina. No, he didn't come out of Eastern Carolina.
Yeah.
Where did Isaiah Liberty? Was it Liberty?
I think Eastern Carolina.
Oh, it was. Okay, you're right. Eastern Carolina. So he reminds me, and with all this 12 personnel that the Rams and the Seahawks have made popular this year, I think teams are going to try to get 3 tight ends that they can rotate. And Johnny, you're going to have your blocking tight end, your big moose, the guy who's going to move the defensive end. Then you're going to get 1 or 2 pass-catching athletic tight ends. That's Justin Jolly.
Yeah.
As the H-back / move tight end, I think he's going to be very good.
Yep. Agree with you. I love your picks, man. Mike Washington, I put a post up on him on X, just elaborating on all the things I see. There's that game against Texas where he runs the guy over and just proceeds to run into the end zone. One of the coolest highlights I've seen in the past couple of years in college football, and just such a smooth glide to him,
He is.
But the one red flag is he's like 24, and I think he's going to be 25 before the end, which matters less and less, right? Like that was a mark on Tyrone Tracy, and it's like if you get a guy like him late and you can get a couple years out of him, you've done more than enough at running back. I do worry that might ding his draft capital a little bit. I'm planning on attending the combine. He's going to be one of the guys I'm asking a couple of questions, because one of the things that also stuck out to me about Mike Washington was played at Buffalo, solid stats, moves into a tougher conference and looks like the man, looks bigger, faster, stronger. What did he do between that senior year and 5th year senior year to really, take that next step up? And how's he going to do that getting into the NFL? Right. I think that'll be a fun question to ask him, but man, love the guy. I love that there's guys like him who we were doing a mock and I think I saw Pete Supernova take him in like the late first, right? Cause it's like, it's just, sometimes you just got to plant your flags. Right. And so we'll see where he ends up, but I love him.
I do believe by the time the NFL draft, and then when do we start I don't start the dynasty till like that, right? A week after the NFL draft, right? I know some people like it before. I just personally don't, because scheme and landing fit means so much. I think when we see Mike Washington, he's going to be a late first-round pick by the time May comes around. I really do. I think he's going to get so much buzz, especially if the reports coming out of the combine are good. And here's the reality. You know what? Has anyone looked at their dynasty roster from 2022? Look at your running backs. And seriously, have you ever looked and be like, oh my God, I had
All
the
gone.
right? Like, I'm not even looking at five-year window is absurd in Dynasty. I'm looking at a 3-year window at running back.
Yeah.
And Mike Washington will fit that 3-year window. After
Great point.
that, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, man, really great having you on the show. A lot of good names picked. I really like that with the kind of funky ADPs that are on there, there really only seems to be a couple of players that, like that B. Thompson from Brittany Foxworth at the 403. No idea who that guy is.
Oh
Recognize.
my God. Can I speak about him? Because now that you mention him, I was going to say something. I was stunned by this.
Who is this?
When you put him into your model, he comes out as very good. But here's the problem, my friend. He's 170 pounds.
Who is he? Like, what's his name?
From Mississippi State.
Okay.
He was peppered with targets. Yards per route, dude. Yards per reception, 18.5.
Oh my God. Yeah. 57 catches, 1,000 yards. But he's
ADOT
5'9", 170, man.
Yes, that's the problem. His ADOT is 18.4. His team dominator is 34%. I'm telling you, he actually looks good in a model.
Yeah.
The problem is he's 5'9", 170. Like,
John, you're
I
the man.
love the work. His body, I mean, you know what? He would be a perfect Tom Brady, Josh McDaniel wide receiver. Put him in the slot, but they're going away from it.
Yeah.
They want the 12 personnel. They're not using 3 wide receivers as much. They're not playing these, these small wide receivers. I like the young man in a model. He's good. I have him at number 25. The problem is he's 170.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't bet on a 170 wide receiver.
I love that you even know who he was because, like I said, I'm about 50, 60 names deep in terms of where I've done some light analysis, and that guy has not even hit the radar yet.
Dude, he's lightning bug fast. Like, he's actually a good football player, but this is the NFL is a different game.
Yeah.
And he will probably make a taxi squad and at one point be elevated to special teams, right? If there's an injury or they need someone there, he'll be elevated. Then we don't know if he'll ever get a shot. But man, he's a good wide receiver, but the 170 is just hard, man. If he was 185, I might have him in the top 20. But 170, what if he shows up at 165?
Yeah,
or
5'8", actually 5'8". Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it. We're going to close out in a minute here, guys. Get any final questions you've got in the chat. I'll run a few of the funny comments. Instead of throwing that name out there, Johnny should have thrown that name right into the garbage, referring to my Drew Aller comment, I believe. It's pretty good, right?
That's a good comment.
One more round. We did it, Garrett. Hope you loved it. He might have been asking for a 5th. Who knows? And then likely went to Coastal. That is actually correct. I Googled it in the background. It was Eastern Carolina. It was Coastal Carolina. But come on, dude. That's how you know you're in a league of extraordinary ball knowers, is when you're like digging up what college Isaiah likely went to off the top of your head, man. You are a true stud, John. Love doing these with you. You're going to have to get on the show at least one more time over the offseason. We'll talk through some more rookies, maybe after I get back from the combine. But
I'd
guys,
love to, my friend.
Oh, I know you would, bro. I always enjoy linking up with you. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the show, give a thumbs up. Leave a comment, any questions you've got for John or I. Subscribe to the Player Profiler news page and Player Profiler so we can keep this content coming your way. And give John and I a follow on X. He's at GridironSkull91. I am at Fantasy Picasso. John, any closing words?
No, I mean, even though it's not a great draft class, everyone, Our job is to find value in these prospects, and we've got to do it. And that's what we're doing at Player Profiler over the next 3 months, 5 months. We're going to find value because some of these players are going to be successful fantasy players. They might not be the top end, right? Like the Malik Neighbors, Saquon Barkleys, but they're going to have roles. And if you play Dynasty like us, Johnny, how many times have you won a league with a backup running back in a flex position who happens to score 25 points? I mean,
right when you need them, right?
You know, I had Kamani Vidal on 3 Dynasty teams. Do you know how good he was when Omarion Hampton was out?
Good for you for hanging on to him, dude.
You know,
people were dropping him to waivers.
I got him on waivers on one team in like week 1, and I'm like, you know what? It was it's like a 30-man roster, right? But why? Because I believed in my analysis. We all know that, so you've got to know these players.
Yeah, man. And you're at the front lines for Player Profiler. Like I said, there's really nobody on our team deeper into the college scouting. So thank you again for joining the show. Guys, make sure you're keeping up with John's work. And we will see you next time. Good luck winning your fantasy leagues, because this time in the offseason is when championships are won and lost. See you guys.